Teresa is a TV host, actress, model, style icon, and creative visionary with an impressive background of more than 15 years of experience in the fashion, beauty, travel, art, and entertainment industries. Her creative visionary has made a mark on the global stage with her elegance, style, passion, and wit. She continually expands her creative world by endlessly exploring the new opportunities around her, and that is what makes her the inspiring person that she is today.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of In Love With Me, where we feature inspiring individuals who will share their amazing stories. I am your host, Mafae Velasco, and for this series, our topic is being empowered during quarantine. For this episode, we have an empowered woman, actress, model, host, and supermom to motivate us to take action. So without further ado, let's welcome the beautiful and amazing Teresa Herrera-Anthony. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Mafae. Hi, everyone.
Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, I've been admiring you ever since I came to the Philippines, seeing you in the fashion community and everything you do. And of course, now as an empowered mom, like, wow, you are a woman who wears many hats.
Yes. I mean, we like to stay busy.
Yes. Exactly. And, of course, I'm pretty sure you've been busy during this quarantine period. But before I ask you about that, can you please share with everyone on how you became the empowered woman that you are today?
Wow, that's a long journey. But to sum it up, I would have to start with having great parents who gave me a really solid foundation, who gave me healthy boundaries, because I was pretty rebellious child. Let's just say I was a handful. He gave me really healthy boundaries, and so that I can, get a head start in life, in the world, and made sure I focused on studies, but it's still balanced with my extracurricular activities, sports, and one thing I really love about them is they never made me do anything. One thing they said is, you got to find something you're passionate about. And when you do it, you got to go like 150% in that direction, and that's always been a thing. So it's like constantly, I've always been a curious child. So, but finding a profession in my case, it was right out of high school, when I was trying to find something that I wanted to do as a profession. I fell into modeling, and then eventually acting, and eventually hosting. But originally it was supposed to be art. I was supposed to go to Paris, New York for painting and sculpture. That was the original plan. And then I got sidetracked. However, I do not, I believe everything happens for a reason. Opportunities fall on your path because they're meant to bring something out of you that you may or may not already know that's inside of you. So for me, it's really just like tuning in and like listening. What is that next step? What is that next step? And I feel like, through the years and, after discovering meditation and yoga throughout my travels in Asia, incorporating that into my daily practice, and really getting quiet, getting still, and using that as a place to start where, being curious, what is it I want? What is it I'm really passionate about? And really tuning in and listening in. I think that's the most important tool for me. But yeah, and then everything else, like everything else in life, there are ups, there are downs, there are obstacles, there are roadblocks, and it's just a matter of your mental aptitude and attitude and how you handle the situations to be able to flow through it. That helps. Yeah.
Mhm. So, I saw you modeling. I've seen you hosting, acting even. Like, wow. Out of those three under your belt, which one is your most favorite, and what motivates you when you do that type of career?
I love performing. I love
Mhm.
acting. I grew up dancing. I was
Mhm.
hoping to pursue that, but I think I fell into acting because I was in Hong Kong modeling, and then I had met people in the film industry there. So that kind of became my first break, being in the Hong Kong film industry. But the more I studied acting, it's really a study of the human condition and being able to portray that from the lowest to the highest of all emotions and all levels. And I find that the most fascinating because I love the research. I love all the work you do before you even step foot on a stage or on a set. I'm a geek that way. I love bringing words to life. I love giving a voice to characters that you would normally read in a book or in a script, and I love bringing them to life in a three-dimensional way. So I think, yeah.
Your personality is so calming. It's so relaxing, and I find your aura is just so positive. But at times when you're about to perform, is there a certain ritual? Of course, we're humans. I'm pretty sure you get nervous at times. How do you get ready for your performance before you get?
Okay, so before I like to get to the theater at least 2 hours before we open, sometimes 2 to 3 hours. And then in theater we do our own makeup, so we get ready, and then I do my vocal warm-up. I do a body check-in, I do a body scan. I do my vocal warm-ups for about 30 minutes, and then I do a simple meditation just for me to just check in and calm myself, But no matter what, butterflies are always there, butterflies, performance butterflies. I'm sure you feel it too, right? Before you get on stage, and and it's human. It's completely human. It's completely normal. So I use it. I use the butterfly and say, okay, I know we're there. And I always just, I have a touch point, when in my dressing room, I have the mirror, but always to the side, I have a touch point of what my intentions are for this character, for this performance, whatever it is. I have a touch point. And it's usually not based on external. It's usually based on something internal that I have determined. And I always do a prayer. I said, look, God, use me as a vessel. I'm here. I'm of service to help tell this story, and hopefully it'll help someone. And I think the more you open yourself up to the possibilities, I think the more blessings come down. Yes, I honestly believe that. Me too.
I believe that too. So, recently you had your play, your show. Can you tell us something about that? Because that was so amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. We did a show called Every Brilliant Thing. The first run of it we did in 2019, and then we were going to do a second run here. And we did opening night. So anyway, Every Brilliant Thing was written by Duncan Macmillan, which is a British playwright based in London. And it tells a story of a little girl and about how she writes a list of every brilliant thing there is about the world and about life and about living. And she would give this list to her mom every time her mom would come back from the hospital from attempting to commit suicide.
Right.
So the subject matter of it's heavy because it's about mental health. It's about suicide, depression, anxiety, all these things that we, come across with in life. But then it's also hopeful and inspiring and funny. I always say it's heartbreaking and hilarious at the same time, because sometimes you're like laughing so hard and then all of a sudden you're like bawling, your eyes off, and I think it's also, it shows you the humanity of the story and the writer. And one of the unique elements of the show is the structure, right? How we presented the show. It's theater and around, which means it's a one-woman show. So it's one actor for about 90 minutes. You're in the middle, and it's theater in the round, so you have audience everywhere. And then the unique aspect about it is we also have improv. So improv is basically when we get to select certain audience members and, to help me tell the story. So I will scan the room, and I don't have any preconceived planted, people. We don't do that because we don't know who's going to be there. I don't know who's in what seat. I really have to scan the room and connect with every single audience member and see, like, all of a sudden I'll get a yes energy from them, and I'll be like, okay, you're going to be my dad today, and then if most of the time, I would say 98% of the time it was a yes, and then maybe 2% of the time it was like, I'm not sure, I'm scared, and there was this one person was just like, no, and of course I don't want to trigger that. So I was like, completely okay with that, and find the next one. And I think that was the unique element of the show, is being able to improv with normal individuals, regular individuals, theater audience that would come to the show, and have them help me tell the story. And you can really see the dynamics of humanity in place, in action, as we're telling the story. You really see how people are there for each other, and how you can hold space for one another in a compassionate way.
I'm getting chills when you're just sharing this story. But what's amazing with that is that, like you said, there's certain people that say yes and help you out. But you, as the one woman show, that's unbelievable. How do you prepare for that? I'm pretty sure you prepared months in time to have that strength, because 90 minutes is no joke.
Yeah, it's no joke. I think our rehearsal time for it was about 30 days. So last year it opened in February, so we had all of January January 2019. So we had 30 days to prepare. But I had read the script 2 years before. And when we had I was shopping it around to see, which production company we're going to go with. And then eventually Sandbox Collective was the right place for Every Brilliant Thing. And then I think once we got the go signal that, we got the license to do the show, I think I went to New York October of the year before and just worked with my acting coach for about a week. And then I came back and just started doing my own personal work of it. Right. But I think this time around, what was different was, usually when I'm working on a character or a role, I do physical first. I do all the physical attribute, how she looks on the outside, and then make myself go in. But this time around, it was like stripping. It was like, stripping meaning like uncovering the layers and covering the layers and starting with the internal first. And how I prepared for it, honestly, was just to make sure that I am as open and vulnerable as possible as a person, as an artist. Because from that place, even if I say the word mom, that's going to mean something.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I read a lot of Brene Brown's work. I was listening to her course and, talking about vulnerability and how it is, it's more powerful than you think. You think when you're vulnerable, you feel weak. No, when you're vulnerable, you are at your strength. To be able to be vulnerable and still share, that's strong. Yes. So I was working more on those inner facets, and then of vulnerability as a topic.
Yeah.
And then I transferred that exercise into the character. You know what I mean? And then working from that place. I don't know if that makes any sense. It was just a weird thing I put together. It wasn't, it's not an acting technique, guys. It's not an acting technique.
You found your strength in being an actress, and doing improv is a challenge in itself. Of course, there's a difference on doing a movie where you have a director saying, cut or let's retake. But for you, there is no retakes. So, with that, I mean, without, of course, guys, you know, Teresa has been doing acting for years. So where she's at in her life is, you know, she's somewhat in the professional level already. But I'm sure Teresa can share on how to prepare. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there who want to somewhat follow your footsteps or want to become an actress or actor. How do you think they should start? Like, especially right now, everybody has a lot of time in their hands. What should they be doing?
Good question. I would highly recommend reading biographies. If there's any actors or actresses that you admire, if they have any biographies out, read them. Read their journey. Read why they wanted to do it, and then also read about the craft of acting, the craft of performing. Whether you decide film, television, or theater, yes, it's different. I would say different. I wouldn't say techniques, because acting is acting. I would say it's just different ways of working. You know, like on the stage, it's like once the curtain goes up, it's like, okay, 90 minutes, you're on. You know, there's no second take. With film, it might not be linear, meaning that, okay, we're going to shoot the last scene of the movie first because we have that production, you know, we have that production venue today. So we're going to shoot that first. So you have to map out mentally the emotional arc of the character and stitch that together. For television, those are shorter, it's faster, they're quicker takes, but I still think you bring the same amount of work. You know, you bring your work ethic, you bring your A game, you bring your professional, you bring your professional A game, because one thing that is my pet peeve is I do not like being late, you know, for myself.
Right.
You know, because I respect my time and I respect other people's time. So if I can, I like to be there early. So that's just one thing I do for myself. But yes, back to preparation. I would recommend you do: read lots of books, read stories, read a lot of plays, scripts from writers that you admire. Find the voice and find stories that you want to tell. I think this was probably the best advice that my mentor gave me, that my acting coach, Larry Moss, gave me. And he said, you know, Teresa, you got to find stories that you want to tell. Otherwise, Hollywood's going to eat you up and spit you out. So I was like, okay, yeah. He's basically saying, you know, you got to build that inner strength. You got to build that mental. And it'll also help you. You might think it's a waste of time, but, you know, reading hundreds of scripts, reading hundreds of plays, that is educating your brain. You're educating your taste level. You're educating that when you do come across a good script or a bad script, you will know the difference because you know story. Yeah. That would be my best advice. Do a lot of reading.
Speaking of Hollywood, we got some fans here. How was your experience acting alongside Robert Downey Jr. in the movie Bang Bang?
You know, you guys, I had such a small role in that movie, but it was fun because I was terrified, first of all, showing up on set. Because then casting brought me in. He was like, okay, the director is Shane Black. Like, okay, Shane Black's ready to meet you now. I was like, okay. So I go up and I was like, hey, sir, nice to meet you. And then he looks at me and then he looks at the casting director and he said, I told you to bring me an attractive newscaster. And I was like, I was mortified. I was dying. I was like, I was so shocked. And then he turned back at me and he goes, ha ha ha, just kidding. Welcome to set. So it was an icebreaker. Yes. But after that, I was just like, oh my God, that was like so scary, but it took like all my nerves out and just relaxed. So that when we were shooting, it was like, okay, cool, whatever, you know, we're fine. We got it. But I was like, oh my God, the worst thing happened. You know what I mean? Like the worst thing he could possibly say, he said it, got me out of my head, and he got me in the moment. And I was like, we're good. That stuck to me more than Robert Downey Jr. actually.
That's super hilarious. But yeah, That's super scary at the same time if you were the one there. But, being an actress and now a super mom, do you think that all your training of being an actress helps you with dealing with your children now?
Oh gosh. With improv, yes. Yes, because everything is, especially when you're playing make-believe, right? And you're playing a game, like we're PJ Masks today, And they'll be like, oh, there's Luna girl, let's go get her. And, and you just go, yeah, I see her. She's got her Luna magnet. You have to keep adding to the story. It's like, yes, and, you know what I mean? That comes into play. That comes in very handy.
Yeah.
What other acting? Breathing.
Uh-huh.
Especially when they're being very naughty. I'm like,
oh my goodness.
Getting back into the breath. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun both ways.
Mm-hmm. And I think, with the moms who are watching right now, guys, Teresa, she wears many hats, but she really wears the mom hat amazing, because I admire her from all her posts, even her, transparency when she shares her. You did your IG story for I think while you were pregnant. I was like, wow, that's so amazing. Every pregnancy is different, right? And when you shared your story, it was different from the other. What inspired you in capturing or recording was it the third pregnancy that you captured?
I think I started with the second pregnancy with Reese, and then the third I ended up continuing. I think the second one was on YouTube, and then the third one was on IG Live. I don't remember, but I think it was a lot of questions people were asking me about, what are you eating? What products are you using? This and that. So I would just chunk it into weeks. I'd be like, okay, 10 to 12 weeks. This is what we were doing, and just just a quick check-in for myself, quick check-in for the baby, anything we're doing to prepare. It was kind of that, because I was getting questions and I was hoping to just answer their questions through the videos.
Yes.
That's kind of how that came about. Yeah.
And you helped me a lot because we were somewhat pregnant at the same time, and it was just something. And of course, we used for my first one, there was the one-on-one books, the baby center online that I follow. But it's nice to have another woman sharing her story, and it's very genuine. It's something that other moms could have, like you said, answering their questions. You can't ask a book that was written years and years ago. Of course, times have changed. So I really appreciate that you did those lives, because I know you helped me, and I'm sure other women too. And I used to message you, right? I think, I don't know why I asked those questions, but I felt as though, okay, pregnancy is new to me again, I guess, because it's been years. And I remember messaging you. I asked you what you ate, and you were like, Mafae, I eat pizza and hamburgers, so don't worry about it. just relax. Nothing's gonna hurt you. Just eat whatever you want. So I'm just like, okay, Teresa said it. I'm just gonna eat everyone. Come on, Nick.
It's so funny. I mean, that was my cravings. I did have a nutrition plan during the day, but usually I get this craving at 10 o'clock at night. And it's always for a hamburger. And so sometimes Juan would be just finishing his game and he's driving back. Hey babe, is there anything you want? I don't even type out hamburger anymore. I just put the emoji of a hamburger and he knows.
And that's what you sent me, actually. I remember now. You sent me that emoji. I was like,
exactly.
Hey, I'm ready to eat a whole pizza.
I don't know why. But yeah, I love hamburgers when I was pregnant.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to our modeling figure, the modeling times, what was something that was very challenging with you of being a model?
I think for me, I knew from a get-go, from the very beginning when I was 19, I know I'm short. It's not something and I got to work with what I have. And modeling profession, usually the girls are long, they're tall, they're lean, they do runway. So I knew my strength wasn't going to be runway. I'm cool with that. And, I was like, okay, this is just really a stepping stone for me to save up money for school. So I just had to work with my strength. And I knew for myself, I made an internal pact with myself, I'm not going to compromise my health or my morals for this industry. So I knew that from the get-go, from like when I was 17. So when you're in an industry where you are the product, right? Yeah. So people are always looking at you, judging you. You got to get used to people judging you from the outside, because that's the industry you're going into. After a while, you just develop a thick skin and you realize people don't really know me, like I think the biggest challenge for me was overcoming those obstacles when people have a first opinion of you just because you walk into a room and they think you're a certain way because of how you look. But then the moment you connect with them and you sit down with them and you actually talk to them, I think that's when I actually booked the job. It's not because of how I look at all. I think when I walk in and I start connecting with people and connecting, and I had this joke, okay, in LA when I would go in for an audition, and it was this thing that my teacher said, before you walk into the room, just know you already booked the job, right? So I come in with that energy. I walk in and I'm just like relaxed. I know it's already there. I booked the job, and right before and usually I get a call back. I get a director's call back, then I'll get a producer's call back. And right in that last call back, I'll go, all right, guys, see you guys on set. I just like would blurt it out. And half the time you're like, okay, this girl is wild. But, hey, what do I have to lose, And 9 times out of 10, I do see them on set. So which is really cool. Yeah.
And that's throwing it into the universe, what you wish for.
Yeah, you got to put it out there, you got to. I'm a big believer in visioning and journaling. Things you want to happen for your life, so I do vision boards. I have like so many Pinterest boards. I'm like, Pinterest is my social media of choice. Not even Instagram, it's Pinterest. Because you just get to design the life you want, and you could see it visually, the career, the types of projects you want to do, So I'm a big believer in that, and keeping it always in your mind, keeping it somewhere where you could see it, so that as you're pursuing your goal, it's fresh. It's there.
I like what you mentioned when you first go into an audition, that you claim it, claim the job, and then also communication. Communication is key. Everybody has a pretty face. Everybody has a nice body. But when you speak and they see the genuine, or, how educated, or just being funny, like what you said, I'll see you on set, they'll remember that. Right?
Yeah, right. And so they see it's really connecting, and it's human connection. When you connect with people, you want to work with them. Like, I know I like to, like, when I find someone cool and that's creative, I'm like, dude, I want to work with you. Like, what can we do together? It's just a human instinct to do that. And that's not something like I like figured out or anything. It was just something that was very, because I'm like, I'm not cool. I'm not the cool girl. Like, I'm not like, like that's so not me. So that when my little one just passed out. So that when they actually call me in, like, I can't keep a straight face. So half the time I'm like, smiling or whatever. So
yeah. So you have to just build that energy, guys. Keep a positive mindset. And with Teresa, she's trained her mind and body and soul to just love life. I believe, that's how I see you. You have a really interesting question here. My little sister wants to get into screenwriting, working in production.
Cool.
What type of exposure should she gain this early on? She's 15 to be in the industry.
Familiarize yourself with TV shows. Or what kind of screenwriting? Is it film or TV? I would say get a really strong knowledge base on the types of films you like. So this would be a great time to, the best is always to intern, right? To intern and be on set, because that's the best job experience, learning situation ever, is when you're assisting somebody or learning someone, because you're right there in the middle of the action. But if you're not there yet, I would recommend making your knowledge base as strong as possible. I actually have a book. Give me 1 second. Can I get the book? writing
Yeah.
book.
So guys, Teresa is getting a book for Ella. She's answering your question right now. So share with your sister on the book that she has so that she can start educating herself in screenwriting and working in production. She'll be back in a second.
Okay. Let's talk about books.
Yes.
It's my favorite things. Okay, this one is a book called The Writer's Journey by Christopher Vogler. I don't know if you could see it. There. I'm sure they have a better edition now, but this really talks about like, it's a practical guide, and it talks about structure, storytelling. Yeah, it says Mythic Structure for Writers. So this is a great book to read. If you're a performer, if you are an actor or a model, I think this is important to know. It's called Body Learning. It's by Michael Gelb. This is a great book. It's about Alexander technique, and it's about how to use your body and in a natural way so that you release all the tension and you're not stiff and you're most relaxed. So it's, I always think of this like it's using your energy economically. I don't know if that makes any sense, but if you're a performer, if you're an actor, a host, this is a great book. I studied with this woman. It's called The Actor Speaks by Patsy Rodenberg. As you could see, this has been read, highlighted, tattered. This is my Bible when it comes to performing, communicating, anything where you have to use your voice and communicating a story, communicating ideas, or hosting. This is great as well. Lots of great exercises in this book. I have two more books. This one of my favorites, of course, this is by my teacher, Larry Moss, The Intent to Live, Achieving Your True Potential as an Actor. Great book. Wonderful man. Wonderful coach. He's the best coach. He's the one who coached Hilary Swank, and she won 2 Oscars. Leonardo DiCaprio, he coached. Also, Juliette Binoche. I mean, lots of people. I was in class, and Juliette Binoche was sitting next to me. So you could see that when he coaches, actors really sit down and listen to what he has to say. So it's a very important book. And also one of my favorite creatives ever, Twyla Tharp. And this is a book called The Creative Habit. Learn it, use it for life. So I would say these are the most important books if you're going to go into the world of film, television, performing of any sort. I hope that helps.
Yes, thanks for sharing that. Of course, I'm pretty sure you have been reading all those books over and over again. So during this time of lockdown and during quarantine, is there something new that you've learned about yourself, or maybe something new that you've learned with your resources there?
Something new I learned about myself. Oh, I learned that I could become a homeschool teacher.
Yeah.
I didn't know I had that in me. I learned I could keep toddlers interested and entertained. Oh, yeah, that's where my acting skills and my performance skills really came in handy. You know, just making sure the kids were engaged. And I had fun with it as well. Just being creative that way. But it's really simple because my kids are 4, 3, and I have an 8-month-old. What else? Oh, and I'm finishing a functional nutrition course, which I have been studying for a few months now. So, and I had been doing this way before COVID. So, yeah, I'm finishing that.
Will there be a chance for you to teach aspiring actors with what you've learned? Maybe have courses?
Oh my gosh! You know, no one's ever asked me to teach.
Why not? You've been taught by the best, so you must be one of the best.
Oh, thank you. You know, it would be an amazing opportunity. I never even thought about that, but you know, now that you mention it, I think there would be things that I could share with a younger generation, in terms of work ethic and technique. But now more about you're using your body as an instrument. Because I've also been doing yoga for 20 years, 20 something years, and I realized how important your connection to your body is. Because you can't act if you're not connected to your body.
Right.
You know, so I would have to start there. We would have to start with your instrument. And then, you know, just as Patsy would say, she's like, she teaches at the Royal Guildhall School of Music in London. So she said, the first year students, it's all about breath work. They're not even touching the script. They don't even touch any of that. It's all exercises and breath work. And then after that, then they start making sound, you know, consonants, vowels, before they can even get into saying a script. And then they do Shakespeare. So when you work on Shakespeare, you have to be very eloquent, you know, in terms of what you say, because it's a certain way of speaking that we don't speak anymore here. But, you know, it's beautiful. To me, it's poetry. It's beautiful.
So I'm claiming in the universe, guys. We're Teresa's workshop, acting workshops here. And we're starting with these, so prepare your breath. And I think, you know, that's amazing that you are able to fast forward the experience for the younger generation. And that's something that I'm passionate about. And I'm pretty sure you are, now that you're a mom, you know, with Ella Garcia's question about her 15-year-old sister. Imagine if we knew that early on years, what we know now, like, we wouldn't be there. We are there, but I mean, you know, we would be in another level. And so I think that's the power of your voice. That's the power of my voice, is to share it with the next generation. You know, of course, we can start with kids, but look, imagine all these questions for you. There's so many, and it's like I'm amazed, and I'm proud of the people that are wanting to learn from you. And there's so many other, you know, questions here. I think there was one. Did you ever think about joining a pageant?
Did I ever? No, I'm not tall enough.
It doesn't matter. You know what? It's funny that people always say that height is always a thing in pageantry. Look at it's not. You know, when you wear those heels, you are slim and long. Once you wear that 5 or 4 inch heels, you're pretty much the same height as the tall girls anyway. I mean, Lara Kigaman already proved that wrong. You know, I want to say there's other women that are not super duper tall and have won a crown. So, you know, for the girls out there, and I've been saying this to a lot of my students too, is just don't stop judging yourself from what you've heard other people say, or the perception, right? And you proved that wrong already. You're a supermodel, right? But you chose what was good for you. Regardless, I saw you on the runway, and I was still amazed. I was like, oh, Sarah, you know, even though, you know, Sarah's there and everybody else is there, you were still an icon. You, you know, Tweety, you know, you guys really paved that way. And to me, like, yeah, fine, I have the height, but still, you guys went another level. You know, you went internationally with the modeling. You put Philippines on the map. That's why there's a lot of supermodels now that are Filipina that are there. I believe you guys started that.
Oh, you know? Thank you. You know, we help build each other. I honestly believe, you know, we're lucky we get those opportunities, but yeah, you're right. It's like, you know, the people before us paved the way, they opened the door a little bit. And, you know, at the end of the day, we're still women of color. Right. Yes, we got to work internationally, but to be honest, like half the time they didn't know what to call me, because I didn't actually look like Filipino, but I didn't exactly look like Caucasian. So like the term was like ethnically ambiguous for the longest time, you know? But now, obviously, the last few years, it's changed. Now is really a good time to be in Hollywood because of diversity. Each network, each studio, each network has a diversity department, diversity head, making sure above the line and below the line is, you know, it's a good mix. So now is a great time.
Yeah, so everyone listening, get ready, train yourself.
Get ready.
Because, you know, especially for us, Asians, Filipinos, we can make it to international scene. It's a
Yes,
matter of putting the
absolutely.
hard work in, taking care of your body. Like what Teresa is saying, meditation is key, breathing. All the books that she shared here, I'm excited to look online for those. I mean, if I can get an actual copy, I would. I have a bunch of creatives in my own household, so
Yeah.
I pick them up. But yeah, maybe this question: what is the hardest part about acting?
The hardest part about acting. I would say is really tuning into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so simple. It's actually very, very simple, but it's one of
Yeah.
the hardest things
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes as a person, if we haven't handled our own business,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example because I know you promote mental health and mental
Mm-hmm.
awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout this whole time I was working in LA, I was in my mid-20s. I was going through severe anxiety and even bouts of depression.
Mm-hmm.
So I was getting confused a lot and I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't access the emotionality of the characters I was studying because
Mm-hmm.
there was something within myself that didn't want to go there. And it wasn't until my acting coach pulled me aside one day and he's like, Teresa, I would highly recommend you see a therapist and work with a therapist so you can be able to bring your full expression of who you are to this character.
Right.
And I take his advice very seriously, and I was also seeing my cousin who said, here's a therapist you should see. So it was like two people that told me.
Yeah.
And I don't find anything wrong with seeing a therapist, or a life coach or anything like that. I believe working on yourself is the best thing you could do for yourself. It's the best investment you could ever make for yourself.
Yeah.
So if you can see a therapist to sort out issues, because first and foremost, you are the instrument. You got to get yourself in alignment before you can start portraying other people.
Right.
I think that was probably one of the scariest and most life-affirming things I've done for myself.
Mm-hmm. And especially at this time, people need that extra support. Like Teresa said, yeah, if you have the means, you can see a therapist. But in regards to that, you have your family, you have your support group that are ready to give you, that extra boost of your happy hormones. Reach out to them. I think that's probably the challenge in it all, is admitting that you need help or you need support. Like here,
or sometimes if it's your family that's causing you the distress, like say for example, you want to pursue acting, 9 times out of 10, if you have an Asian parent, they're going to be like, get a real job, like, what are you doing? And so there were times, because it's already hard enough as it is. And I remember having a conversation with my mother one time. I was in LA and I only said it to her once. Where I would talk to her, she's like, what are you doing? You're there by yourself. You're not making money. And this is like really the first couple of years when you're getting your foot in the door. And I said, Mom, yes, I understand your concern, but this is something I want to do. This is something I'm passionate about. And it's hard enough already as it is being out here. So if you're not going to say anything productive or supportive, I can't speak to you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn how to set those healthy boundaries, even if it's my family.
Yeah.
Because then they really know, oh, okay. They really know where you stand. You shouldn't have to convince anyone of your passion.
Right.
You're passionate about something for a reason. If you're lit about something, because you are destined to bring that into the world. There's only one of you in the world that can bring that vision forth. So I really believe that.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love everything you're saying. We can talk on and on and on, guys. Teresa has so much positive content on her social media. I'm pretty sure she is more than, happy to answer any more questions or advice or even book recommendations. I'll make sure that her Instagram handle is on this caption so that you can check it out. all her projects are there. What would be amazing is to see your play right now for everyone. But I know it's a special treat because there's a huge impact when it's really like face to face with Teresa. Like she gets into this, you know, in her game face, and it's just like, you know, like I said, I got chills just when you were sharing your story about your play. But more power to you. God bless you and your family, most especially at this time. Lastly, Teresa, can you please share your words of wisdom to everyone who's listening, and most especially in this challenging time?
Oh gosh, everybody, I think my life motto has always been, you know, I grew up in Long Beach, California, where I was predominantly African American, where I went to school. And we always used to say, just keep it real, keep it real. And then I added, keep it simple. So this has been my life motto for years. Keep it real, keep it simple, keep it real, keep it simple. Now I'm going to add, keep it real, keep it simple, keep it kind. So if you can do one random act of kindness today or this week, do so.
Amazing. Just like that, guys. All you have to do is take action in everything that you want to achieve. Claim it in the universe. Know yourself. Keep educating yourself, like what Teresa is saying here. And I would definitely advise you guys to hit rewind and replay this as much as you want. She, you know, Teresa has shared amazing wisdom, advice. And with that, guys, actions speak louder than words. And thank you for tuning in another amazing episode of In Love With Me. Thank you
for having me.
Thank you for watching In Love With Me series.